Item B, receive a presentation by Margo Grant, San Mateo County Census Coordinator, regarding the census complete count efforts and presentation. And we're going to present a proclamation supporting community participation. Margo.
Thank you very much for having the opportunity to be here tonight. It's a pleasure to be here in the city of San Bruno. Thank you, Mayor and honorable city council members, residents of San Bruno, and public. My name is Margo Grant, and I am serving as the census coordinator for the county of San Mateo. It's my goal here tonight to refresh many of our memories of the census and let you know a little bit more of what you can expect about the 2010 census. So the census, this has been an American tradition since 1790. That was when the very first census was enacted, and this was an initiative by George Washington himself, and it was undertaken by Thomas Jefferson. As you can imagine, since 1790, how the census is undergone has changed significantly since 1790. So back in 1790, census takers dressed as this man would have gone in a door-to-door effort to all our farms, residents, and meeting with all the constituents surrounding living in the United States. This is an example of that very first census that was taken, and as you can see in the bottom right-hand side, Thomas Jefferson, in fact, signed that census. Back in 1790, the population in the United States was about 3.5 million people. Consequently, that's about the size of the entire Bay Area, so it has grown quite significantly. And this go around in 2010, you will instead of census takers doing a door-to-door effort, all 307 million people throughout the United States and 700,000 people throughout San Mateo County will receive a mailer that looks very similar to this at their residence. This is asked that people take 10 minutes to fill out the form and then slip this back into the mail. So why exactly is the census so important? Well, there are two reasons I want to share with everyone today. First and foremost is the money that is allocated back towards our communities, states, and local governments. Around $400 billion annually is allocated back towards our local communities simply based off this census data. The second reason is because of our congressional representation. The U.S. House of Representatives is the numbers that serve from our states is determined because of census data. So this data is used for very significant purposes for the monies that are allocated back towards our communities and also for our political voice. So what exactly would be the consequences of an undercount? Well, it has been estimated that just over $2,000 is received for every single resident that fills out one of these questionnaires. So we can potentially lose about $2,000 for people who do not take the 10 minutes to fill this out. If we want to say that about 100 people do not take the time to fill out the form, that's just over $200,000. Now, because the census is only taken every 10 years, you can extrapolate this number and times that by 10 to have the consequences of being just over $2 million if only 100 people do not fill out the form. In fact, PricewaterhouseCoopers recently came out with a report stating that the state of California lost around $1.5 billion as a result of an undercount back in 2000. So the consequences are quite severe for an undercount. So what exactly is happening with the census now? Well, I've had the pleasure to be working with Laura Russell within your planning department in trying to identify the exact community events and community measures where we can do outreach within San Bruno to reach as many constituents as possible. Another thing I wanted to mention with everyone is, like all local governments and even from the private sector experience at the moment, our county is experiencing major cutbacks at the moment. So we are working on about 1/3 of the budget as we had back in 2000, and we have less staff dedicated to our census efforts. So this will be a very, we will need as many hands as possible to reach out to those constituents and to make sure that people are informed about upcoming census events. So a little bit more about the actual timeline of the census. These census questionnaires are scheduled to arrive in all the residents' mailboxes around March 15th. And then they're asked that you fill them out and slip them back into the mail by April 1st. That is considered the actual census day. Towards the end of April, all the way through July, will be the traditional census takers or the door-to-door follow-up for the non-responsive households. And then all this data must be reported to President Obama by December 31st of this year. All of it will be made public by early 2011. So in our census messaging, we're asking that everyone within this city council meeting act as ambassadors for the census. Ask your neighbors if they had participated, if they have filled out their form once they are mailed out and received by the households. And in your message, there are 3 key points that we would like to emphasize about the census. One is simply that the census is incredibly easy. The form is actually shortened this year to only contain 10 questions, and it is designed to take less than 10 minutes to fill out. 2 is that the census is safe. All of the answers on the form are completely confidential and protected by law. 3 is that the census is important. Every person that filled this out has a major impact on our local communities, and it's part of their share of their voice into their civic engagement for our cities and communities. Thank you very much, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that there might be at this time.
Thank you, Margo. Any questions? All right, we do have a proclamation to present, and it will be received by Penina F. Levermore. She's a partnership specialist with the U.S. Census Bureau, and I'll just read this quickly. Whereas an accurate census count is vital to our community and residents' well-being by helping to plan for future transportation, daycare centers, schools, recreation facilities, and community services, and achieving an accurate and complete count of the nation's growing and changing population. Whereas more than $400 billion per year in federal and state funding is allocated to states and communities based in part on census data. Whereas census data help determine how many seats each state will have in the U.S. House of Representatives and often is used for the redistricting of state legislatures. And whereas the 2010 census creates jobs that stimulate economic growth and increase employment, and whereas the information collected by the census is confidential and protected by law, now therefore the City Council of the City of San Bruno proclaims that the City of San Bruno is committed to partnering with the U.S. Census Bureau to help ensure a full and accurate count in 2010. As a 2010 census partner, we will support the goals and ideals of the 2010 census and disseminate 2010 census information to encourage those in our community to participate. Encourage people in our community to place an emphasis on the 2010 census and participate in events and initiatives that will raise overall awareness and ensure a full and accurate census. We will also support census takers as they help our community complete an accurate count. And finally, we will create or seek opportunities to collaborate with other like-minded groups in our community by participating in the San Mateo County Complete Count Committees and utilizing trusted voices to advocate on behalf of the 2010 census. And I'll present this now.
Thank you for this wonderful opportunity and for the proclamation. On behalf of the U.S. Census Bureau, I would like to express our appreciation for the role that you're playing to ensure a complete count. As Margo pointed out, each person represents over $2,000 in funds for the community, and that means that it's in everybody's interest to achieve a complete count, but for various reasons, not everybody will respond, and we expect about a 64% response rate. Margo said that after the forms are filled out, we will be going around door to door to make sure that the people who did not fill out the questionnaires fill them out and send them in. And that's a very important role that you can play, is help us reach those hard-to-count people who aren't inclined to send in their questionnaires. San Bruno plays a huge role in that effort, and we appreciate your part in helping to achieve a complete count. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.